Hello guys, this is Mr. Cole coming to you live from, well not live, from Tiffin Columbian High School. I am recording this one on March 16th, so I don't know what has happened from then till when you are watching it now, but I needed to use the smartboard for this one, so I'm trying to get it done early. Now with this, today what we're going to be doing is talking about the Federal Reserve and the way the Federal Reserve controls the money supply. By now, we have already learned about the way the federal government, Congress, and the president try to use its power to manage the economy. Now we're going to start focusing on how the Federal Reserve manages the economy, okay, and the way they do it. And they primarily do it through what we call monetary policy, okay, the actual growing or shrinking of the money supply. Now with this, the Federal Reserve has the ability to create money to try and grow or take money out of the economy. Now, yes, the Federal Reserve is in charge of printing money, but that's a little bit different. We're not talking here about printing money right now. What we're going to talk about is actually the creation of almost an idea of money, all right? And you'll see what I mean by this in a second. Now, the one thing that's important for us to understand before we move on is remember what banks actually do with our money. So when we go and put money in a bank, okay, the Federal Reserve requires that a certain percentage of it be kept on hand. This percentage is called the Required Reserve Ratio, the RRR. The RRR is the set amount that a bank has to actually keep in its vaults so that when you come and take it out, they have money for you. Okay? The rest of the money the bank lends out in loans, which are then paid back with interest. Okay? Now, the Federal Reserve can change these reserve requirements in order to grow the money supply or shrink the money supply. Okay? So let's go into an example here. So let's say that you walk in and you have a $100 deposit that you want to put into a bank. You want to put $100 in there. So you go to Fifth Third Bank. Fifth Third Bank is going to take 10% of that, and they're going to keep it in reserves. They're going to keep it in their vaults. However, the other 90%, they're going to loan out. So I'll try and put some names with this. So let's say they loan it out to Nick. Okay? And Nick is going to come and get a $90 loan. Now I'm going to be a little bit dramatic. He's going to buy with that $90 loan a car. Okay? So he purchases a $90 car. Okay? Well, with that, though, here's something that you have to keep in mind. This $90 car, Nick gives $90 to the car dealership. Well, the car dealership takes, and this is why I don't really like this graph as much, the car dealership takes those $90 and they put it into their bank. Their bank is PNC Bank. Okay? So they go to PNC Bank, they put $90 in. Well, PNC also has to follow what the Federal Reserve says. So PNC saves 10% of that, which would be $9. Okay? Now PNC has $81 left to loan out. Okay? So PNC loans it out to Riley. Okay? Riley's going to use the $81 to buy a house. I know it's ridiculous, but let's just say Riley's going to buy a house with this. Okay? When she buys a house with this, she pays the $81 to the homeowners, and they take the money and they put it in the Old Fort Bank. Old Fort Bank then has to keep 10%, so they would keep $8, and they would lend out the other, I don't even know, $73 that would be left. Now, we could have a 45-minute video where we keep following this chain reaction down. I'm not going to make you do that, but I do want you to look at the right side. Look at this initial $100 deposit. Okay? Oops. That's pretty cool. Highlighter. So look at this initial $100 deposit. Okay? This original deposit led to the purchase of a $90 car, an $81 house, a $73 car, a $62 car, following this entire process all the way down until we run out of money. Right? I didn't do a good arrow there. But this entire process, we'd follow this chain reaction. And in total, there is going to be thousands of dollars of products bought from just a $100 deposit. It is if the Federal Reserve created money out of the air. An initial $100 deposit led to $90 car, $81 house. All these purchases were made with just a starting point of $100. Think about the benefit to the economy of that happening, okay? That if they were to, let's say, raise the rates, that means less stuff on the right side of the chart is going to get bought. If they lower the reserve rates, more stuff is going to be bought, right? So with that, the Fed's control of the money supply is huge in doing that. Now, there's two ways to figure it out. Either number one is you could follow this chart forever and you'll be very, very, very sad. Or you could use a very, very little simple trick called the deposit expansion multiplier. Basically what this is, you're going to take the number 1 and put it over the RRR, okay? That is going to give you a set amount of, and a multiplier that you can see how much total money is going to be created. And you can find out how much new money the economy actually made. So here's an example. Let's do this example right here. So $100 deposit in the bank with a 25% required reserve ratio. Okay? So I'll go ahead and write it up here. So we have $100 deposit with a 25% RRR. Okay? The first step is figuring out what your deposit multiplier is. So you take 1 over, and I have the directions right here, 0.25 because it's 25%. So 1 over 0.25, which is going to equal, again I have the directions over here, 4. This is now your multiplier. Okay? You can take any deposit and multiply it by 4, and that's how much total money there's going to be. So we had a $100 deposit multiplied times 4 means the total amount of money in the market is going to be $400. That is $400 worth of stuff that is bought with that $100 purchase. Okay? So those $400 that were made is $400 worth of cars, of businesses, of student loans, of whatever is being bought with our deposited money. $400 of the stuff is going to be able to be produced. Okay? However, we want to find out how much new money was created. How much money did the Federal Reserve actually create in purchased items? To do that, you take your $400 that were total. Okay? That's how much total money there is. I should probably label that. This is total money. You take the $400 of total money and you subtract the original deposit of $100. That original deposit means that in total you end up with the Federal Reserve having created $300 worth of new money through our banking system. Okay? So our banking system created $300 worth of goods and services that are now able to be bought that would not have been able to be bought without the banking system. And this is the key as to why the banking system is so important. Okay? This is $300 worth of jobs. This is $300 worth of sales. Right? This is $300 that is now being fluctuated in the economy that would not have been able to before. Let me make sure and see where we're at. So I have the example right up there, and that is where we're going to end with today. So we're going to explore more with monetary policy later on. Obviously, there'll be some sort of assignment with this, but that is how money is created in the market, okay, and by the banking system. So with that, I know it's a bit of a complicated process, so please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.